In round 9 of the CFA, up to $2 million of grant funding is available for strategic planning and feasibility studies. Eligible applicants include cities, counties, municipalities, business improvement districts, local development corporations, and not-for-profit economic development organizations. Individuals, businesses, and universities are not eligible applicants. Total program funding of up to $2 million is available for working capital grants of up to $100,000 each to support strategic development plans for a city, county, or municipality, or a significant part thereof, or feasibility studies to assess and plan the development of a site or facility for any economic development purpose other than residential, although mixed-use facilities with a residential component are allowed. These funds are not intended for planning or feasibility studies for training programs. The program promotes economic development in the state of New York by encouraging economic and employment opportunities and stimulating development of communities and urban areas. Projects should focus on economic development purposes, such as job development and creation and/or the development of new industries. Preference shall be given to projects located in highly distressed communities. Projects should define clearly project scope, work plan, and anticipated results. Funds may be used for salary, wages, fringe benefits, contractual services, supplies and materials, and travel. Funds may not be used for site assessment or planning for residential development, although funds may be used for a study for a mixed-use project that includes a residential component. Applicants should clearly describe the scope and budget for the project for which funds are being requested. For example, an applicant may be planning a larger project that would include multiple phases. However, the project for which funds are being requested via the CFA might consist of only one phase of the larger project. The request for ESD grant funds should be specific to the phase, not the overall multi-phase project. Awards are offered as an incentive to undertake a project. Therefore, a project should not begin and expenses should not be incurred before funding awards have been announced. No contracts should be entered into for services related to an applicant's project prior to CFA award announcements. In accordance with the requirements of Article 15A of the New York State Executive Law, participation by minority group members and women with respect to state contracts by providing opportunities for MBE, WBE participation. Projects awarded funding shall be reviewed by ESD's Office of Contractor and Supplier Diversity, which will set business and participation goals for minorities and women. Such goals shall typically be included in the incentive proposal. Please note that ESD's agency-wide MWBE utilization goal is 30%. Each project will be assigned an individual contract-specific goal, which may be higher or lower than 30%. Should an applicant receive a funding award, the applicant shall be required to use good faith efforts to achieve the prescribed MWBE goals assigned to the project. Applicants must maintain such records and take such actions necessary to demonstrate such compliance. In 2014, the Service Disabled Veteran-Owned Business Act was signed into law. The law created the Division of Service Disabled Veterans Business Development in Office of General Services to certify, promote, and encourage economic development among disabled veterans throughout the state. Project applicants are urged to work with service-disabled veteran-owned businesses, and a directory can be found at the website listed. Notice of a funding award will be given in the form of an incentive proposal outlining the terms of the proposed assistance. The award is subject to approval of the ESD directors in compliance with applicable laws and regulations. Project funding may only be used for expenses incurred after the date the funding award is given. Applicants are strongly encouraged to review and countersign ESD's incentive proposal prior to starting the project. The essential terms for the assistance are included in the incentive proposal. Although funding is offered prior to project commencement as an inducement to undertake the project, funds are dispersed in arrears as reimbursement for eligible project expenditures. All applicants will be requested to certify and agree that any decrease in the scope of work described in the applicant's final CFA submission may result in ESD's reduction of the award at ESD's sole discretion in an amount proportionate to any such decrease. All applicants will be requested to certify and agree that any expansion of the scope of work described in the applicant's final CFA submission will not result in the increase of the award by ESD. ESD requires the applicant contribute a minimum of 10% of the total project cost in the form of equity contributed after the applicant's acceptance of ESD's incentive proposal. Equity is defined as cash injected into the project by the applicant or by investors and should be auditable through the applicant's financial statements or accounts, if so requested by ESD. Equity cannot be borrowed money secured by the assets in the project or grants from a government source. Projects generally are presented to the ESD directors once all project expenditures have been undertaken and disbursement of ESD assistance is sought. The applicant must always disclose whether it is pursuing or intends to pursue multiple ESD funding sources, including grants, loans, or tax incentives. All required public approvals must be in place prior to the start of construction, should the project result in construction, and approval by the ESD directors, including State Environmental Quality Review and consultation with the State Historic Preservation Office, if applicable. Please note that awarded grants are transferable at the sole discretion of ESD. It is expected the project will proceed in the time frame set forth by the applicant. If the implementation of a project fails to proceed as planned and is delayed for a significant period of time, and there is, in the exclusive judgment of ESD, doubt as to its viability, ESD reserves the right to cancel its funding commitment to such project. If awarded, the incentive proposal expires 2 years from the date of acceptance by the recipient. ESD reserves the right to require a recipient to provide any additional information and/or documentation it deems necessary, and may terminate the project at any point if the applicant fails to provide such documentation in a timely manner. Projects should focus on economic development purposes, such as increasing viability of existing businesses, stimulating new enterprises, and analyzing potential development opportunities or obstacles to development. Priority will be given to projects located in highly stressed areas. For more information, you may contact the local Empire State Development Regional Office. A complete list of the ESD regional offices can be found at the listed website. Thank you.